all, I'd like to thank you all for attending here today. My name is Laurie Britton, and in the laser tag community, I'm also known as Tivia, and I write the blog TiviaChickLovesLaserTag.com because I love laser tag. So I'm really pleased to have you all here today. And today, we're going to talk a little bit about laser tag arenas and what makes them memorable. So what I want to address with you today are ways that you can identify what sets a truly exceptional arena apart. We're going to explore some opinions about different arenas from actual laser tag players, and we're going to see some of these concepts illustrated with images of award-winning and specially recognized arenas from across the country while we talk about what makes them stand out as impressive and unique. And my hope is that this discussion is going to help you find some ideas and some inspiration for ways that you can make your laser tag arena the best that it can possibly be. Now, my own opinions on this topic are shaped from having played in nearly 400 laser tag arenas all across the country and across all 50 states. However, I am not in the laser tag industry myself. I am an avid enthusiast, and I want to also be a voice for laser tag players who are also potentially your customers, and they might see your business from a totally different vantage point than somebody in the industry. So I reached out to some of them, and many laser tag players were kind enough to share a few thoughts that I want to just pass along to you from that vantage point. And I did this by recently posting a survey on my website, and I invited laser tag players to contribute their opinions so that I would not just be speaking for myself, but also speaking on behalf of players who also care about finding high-quality laser tag experiences. Also, in 2020, I hosted a top 10 arena contest on my TiviaChickLovesLaserTag.com website, where selected arenas were recognized, and then the public was invited to vote on their favorites. So some of the arenas that we're going to be looking at today are top tier, not just by my own estimation, but also based on the results determined by that public vote. And I'm just going to say, admittedly, this whole topic is very subjective, and there are no absolutes. However, there are some things that many people will commonly agree can affect the kind of impression that your arena will have on your customers. And so these are the things that I'm hoping that we can explore together today. In the survey that I posted, I got a variety of comments, but when I asked about what really makes an arena impressive to you, 3 things were among the very top responses. And those 3 things are an interesting, fun-to-play maze, a unique theme, and lighting. So I'd like to start by talking a little bit about each one of those elements. Let's begin with an interesting maze. Now, a maze could be interesting for many reasons, some good, some bad, but the biggest question is it fun to play? Well, what makes a maze fun to play? Based on the survey, some of the things that got a thumbs up for mazes include when there are multiple routes to get from point A to point B without dead ends or long corridors. People want to have exit points and they want to have multiple ways to get around to where they're going. Players also want to see a fair and balanced, if not an altogether symmetrical arena. And multi-levels are very popular as long as they offer a fairly equal advantage. But flipping the script to what makes an arena map play poorly, well, thumbs down answers included too much space, unbalanced sides, or overpowered areas. For example, if a player gets to the top floor and it becomes like shooting fish in a barrel, that's not fun for anybody. So they shouldn't be able to have that kind of a strong advantage just because they got there first. And then there's size. If it's too large or if it's too small for the number of players, and if there are cramped corridors, that just impedes the quality of the game all the way around. So all that being said, let's take a look at just a couple of examples of some interesting but very different kinds of maps. Now, the granddaddy of all laser tag was Photon, and Photon alpha fields generally check off all the right boxes. There are plenty of routes for maneuvering through the arena, there's a symmetrical playing field, and there's good balance on both the upper and lower levels. And basically, in short, they just play well. George Carter knew what he was doing when he invented the game back in 1984, and he spent a lot of time trying to make sure that these arenas worked. Another thing he cared very much about was making Photon a very immersive game. And that was all about experience for him. We're going to talk a little bit more about that as we get into discussing themes. But if I can impart one thing to you, it's this. Laser tag should be immersive. Now, here's a map that is a personal favorite of mine because it was the very first laser tag arena that I ever played and where I used to play the most often. What you'll notice is that this is not symmetrical, but in my opinion, it's still very well balanced. The upper levels are actually just sort of mini platforms that can be accessed from a couple of different ramp points rather than having a full second floor. So that's kind of a unique thing there. And I feel like there's a really good use of space across both the bottom level and the creative use of the top space. And I just want to stop for a moment and say that in terms of considering what makes an arena fun to play, things like the levels, things like the ramps, but also varying heights for walls and where cutouts are placed, all of these things deserve consideration as you're getting your arena put together. They all play into achieving some balance and a fun arena space.
Is that your width?
This is Fun Junction and DeWitt.
Fun Junction, okay.
Mm-hmm. And finally, just for a whole different angle today, let's look at a different style of arena. This is a really interesting approach, and it's unlike many maps that you might see. But one thing that I really love is that this arena has a 3D model of the map right in the briefing room. And it has less actual maze walls, and yet it still somehow accomplishes the multiple routes and the balance and the multi-levels with the fairly equal advantage in a completely different style floor plan. In fact, I was told that the facility owner actually designed this himself.
It's Mannheim, right?
I don't remember.
It's
It might be.
Pennsylvania's Mannheim, Pennsylvania's Laser Dome.
No, it is not.
It's not Louisiana.
No. But it's similar in
Where was
style.
that then?
I can't remember,
Who was the owner?
but if you go way back in the archives of Tivia2PlusLaserTag.com, you can ask me tough questions.
Like, Laser Dome. Keep going, but yeah, it looks like Laser Dome in
No, I know it looks like
Carl's.
it. We'll look at Laser Dome,
Okay.
but this is something else.
All right, it looks like Carl's.
Okay. Well, and I'm giving you these simply as examples of different approaches.
Great,
Honestly,
nice.
there is no substitution for first-hand experience. So if you really want to know what makes a laser tag arena play well, you have to go out there and play it. I would definitely encourage you to play as many different laser tag arenas as possible because this is the best way you're going to get a real sense of what works. And probably the second important thing I want to impress upon you is that remember that your maze is the backbone of your arena, and it has to be fun to play before anything else matters. Well, that said, let's get into what I love the most, which is theming. There are many different ways that you can successfully incorporate theme, including storyline, interactive props, memorable visuals, statement structures, color schemes, and what to me is the most important, again, is that overall immersive feeling. Now, when asked about theme, survey respondents shared some things that they like, and the survey said, thumbs up to props that really immerse you and evoke an emotional response. That can make the difference in making it a memorable experience. Distinctive and unique props are very helpful with naming parts of the arena. That's great if you've got competitive players because they like to have their call-out points, and sometimes those props will make a difference there. Towers and statement structures that are big and massive, they really add to the feeling of awe, and reinforcing again, just laser tag should be a fully immersive experience. So what got the thumbs down then? Well, players were a little bit less enthralled with random, disconnected pop culture elements. As cool as pop culture may be, it's less impressive if it isn't cohesive in maintaining that whole consistent theme. So as cute as Alvin and the Chipmunks may be, they probably don't belong in your space-themed arena. Sometimes props can come off a little bit cheap and a little bit like a haunted house. So that's a trap you don't want to fall into. Decor means very little if the maze isn't already fun to play. So again, remember to build that strong backbone first. And just a final thought, when sites put minimal to no effort into theming, it doesn't really change the game, but it makes it a little bit less interesting and exciting. So all that said, let's take a look at some really well-executed examples of different styles and themes. Now, I recently had a chance to experience an excellent execution of a storyline theme in an arena called Celebrity Lanes in Centennial, Colorado. And you can probably tell from their name that they want to make their guests feel like celebrities. So to keep up with their "you are the celebrity" vibe, there's a director's chair right in front of the arena entrance where we learn from a sign what your experience is going to be all about. And it begins, "You have been cast in a starring role in the upcoming summer blockbuster, The Arachnobots Invasion. So join the director on set for your starring moment as you attempt to save the world from the spider droids that are raining down from the sky and wreaking havoc on Beverly Hills." Now, already I want to see what's behind the door, don't you? So, if you open that door, you're going to be taken into a dressing room, which I think is a really cool concept. The dressing room, AKA the vesting room. And here they have mirrored stations and they have wigs across the top, and it gives you a sense like you're about to be getting hair and makeup and costuming done, which in a sense you kind of are, because this is where you get the costume of putting on your laser tag pack. So you're in the vesting room and you're putting on the pack, and then once you are dressed and ready for your starring appearance, then you enter the door that takes you to the sound stage, AKA the arena. And this is where things get really impressively theatrical, and you really feel like you walked onto a movie set at this arena. This is a completely immersive atmosphere that incorporates the whole story. And you can see up here the giant arachnobots that are on the roof, and there are some giant spiders hanging from the ceiling, and it really puts you into a space. Now this is where I kind of think it's interesting that Lathan and I have maybe some differing opinions about what goes into different spaces, and we're going to look at some similar pictures from different places. So I appreciate and welcome any thoughts that you have about this. But you know, for me, the interest is really just definitely there because this is so immersive, start to finish, and the storyline ties everything together. Now, there are lots of rooms in this arena, and these are all rooms from the same arena space. They're all decorated throughout 3 floors. The storyline, to me, really ties the whole environment and the game together, and that includes their use of some really cool interactive props. Now, this is a close-up of the building, where, I don't know if you can see very well, but these little small spiders, they are placed right next to targets in the game. So when you're aiming at the spiders and accomplishing the goal of your movie mission, you're actually going to be hitting the game targets. So I like that because it's really just tying the whole piece together. You've got the spiders you're targeting, but you're accomplishing your in-game goals at the same time. And I just love this as an interactive prop. I thought that was so cool. Segue, and speaking of interactive props, let's look at a few more. Props can really be a focal point for an in-game challenge. And I really like this as an example where over here, the targets are hidden among these snake eggs. And it's part of a living arena setup where the snake eggs are guarded by an angry mama. And so she's interacting as you're targeting her babies. It feels like it's coming to life. You're hearing these sounds, and it's just being reinforced by the visual of this angry mama, and I thought that was so cool. Another example is with this helicopter over here. The targets are all around. So as cool as that looks in the arena, it's better because it's something you really have to look for and you have to engage with to deactivate those targets. And so having those targets all around it just brings that into a little bit more involvement in the game. Back to something Lathan was talking about earlier this morning. Projection walls, I think, go along with the idea of interactive targets. And projection walls can be a really interactive thing with the game and add something extra. If you've not had a chance to see any in person, you probably don't know it, actually, because you have to see in regular light, these walls are just plain light. And as the lights start to dim and the projection comes up, you can kind of see the transition here. These are really cool because they can be incorporated into the game as well. We're talking about, you know, if you've got in-game elements that trigger something. In this case, if you deactivate that base and that triggers something cool on the outside, like an explosion or a visual, I mean, there's so many cool things that you can do. You can trigger all sorts of video elements. And one thing I really like about the whole concept of projection walls is theoretically, you could change your theme every day of the week. But it's something that I don't see a whole lot of places, but I think that it is kind of an underused feature that I really think is very cool, and there are lots of ways that you can incorporate that and make it work with your game so that those elements trigger one another and people get used to kind of seeing some cool things happen there. In this case, I'd almost call this base housing like a statement structure when you see it like that. And I'm going to show you a few more statement structures because these are examples of eye-catching, really impressive in size and memorable details. Whether it's something as iconic as the photon tower. When I see that, that just screams laser tag to me. That was something you would have seen in one of the original photon fields, and I think that it's just, it takes my breath away every time I see one of them. Or something also as iconic as the Statue of Liberty that stands a couple of levels tall. These are things that your players are going to remember when they see them. How about a massive towering python's head, or a skyscraper, or a massive clock tower? Now, this is one area where size really does matter, and when it comes to structures, I think that bigger is generally a little bit more impressive, and if you have the space and above all the height, I would definitely say build upward with something that will really make your customers take notice. Sometimes what's most memorable about a visual are the visual props are able to enhance the theme. And for example, in a space-themed arena, I think it's pretty cool to have this astronaut suspended above a barrel. And just for some size perspective, the players are right down there. So this really becomes a very big thing to look up and see that astronaut flying above you. Or an arena that's actually local here. What if you're tagging among the dinosaurs and it makes you feel like you go into a whole different place right here on Earth? Or maybe the props can be part of what sends you off on your adventure. Like I just love these gorillas and here's a prop with some snakes. These are things that are just setting the mood for you. And whatever direction it is that you take, you want to impress your players with something unexpected. So what could be more unexpected than an arena where you find, a giant spider! And yes, that prop really does make you jump when you notice it for the first time. Or what about the giant fish and the turtle suspended from up above? To me, that was an investment well worth it because it really gave me the sense of you're playing under the sea. And I thought that was a very impressive arena all the way around to see that, and it gives you a real feeling. Here's one where the skeleton driving the tank is actually an interactive prop with targets built in. I believe they were in the eyes or possibly down the barrel of the tank. But he's memorable whether he's the one driving the tank or in this case over here with the pirate ship theme where you're literally putting the player behind the wheel. Props can offer some really cool opportunities for something that somebody wouldn't otherwise get to experience. Some visuals stand alone, and some visuals are memorable because the theme is incorporated literally everywhere you look. And here's one I love because it starts on the walls and goes all the way down. Now, at this arena, they had a real volcanic fire and lava kind of situation going on, and you could see the fire is starting in the very realistic artwork that's on the walls. It continues into the actual physical volcano prop that we're all gathered around there. And then the coolest thing for me with this arena was this custom printed carpet where the lava just keeps on flowing all the way through the arena. That custom carpet was a big wow moment for me. In another fully immersive arena with a fire and ice theme, the space is split evenly here, separating out two distinctive parts. The fire kind of keeps on going in the direction that we were just in, but the other half of the arena is cool as ice. And what I love here is how everything is a part of the theme, including all the way down to the base housings, which are basically like one big giant ice cube. I thought that was very clever. Whatever your theme though, commit to it. Commit to that feeling of immersion. Here are two immersive examples I like that really kind of put you into the setting that they've created. First one is over here in this castle. You are tagging amongst the stone walls and you're trying to avoid the dragons in each of the corners. And then on the other side, you're taken to a city at night where maybe you find a little pizza that's left over or left behind by a teenage turtle or two. And this arena actually had base housing designs that were, they looked like pizza shops. So everything that is kind of iconic, if you were a fan of the turtles, you're finding it in their arena. And in every case, it's all about making your players feel that they're part of something more than just the game. The game is paramount, but the theming can really just kind of amp up that experience. Moving on now to lighting, which is a bit harder to show, but it's incredibly important, and sometimes it's even a big factor in safety as well. Survey respondents responded that they liked a few things in particular. Thumbs up went to lighting effects that coordinate with or react to events in the game, lighting that changes in sync with the music, lighting that indicates something in the game, like which team is winning, and DMX lighting and black lights are just popular favorites all the way around. As for the thumbs down opinions, they were not as happy with strobes or too many laser lights. Lighting that is either too bright or too dark, neither one of those are good choices. You want to find a happy medium, but if you've got to err on one side or the other, err towards brighter. That is the better side to be on. I'll tell you, I've played in some arenas that have been so dark that, in my opinion, they actually bordered on being a little bit dangerous. And it slows the gameplay down if you are in a dark arena that is so dark that you have to step cautiously to compensate for that. And seriously, if you can't see little ways in front of your hand, it is just too dark. But on the other hand, too much lighting activity can sometimes feel like you're in a dance club, and that can detract rather than enhance your experience. So, happy medium with lighting, but medium does not mean boring. There are a lot of different ways that lighting can really make things exciting in your arena and still, kind of follow those guidelines we were talking about. Now, I've seen lots of approaches to lighting, both for atmosphere and as added special touches. And one arena that I visited is really proud to feature 36,000 LED bulbs in use, which I'm told equates to roughly a little bit more than a mile of LED strips. So you can see the lighting in the doorways, and we were talking a little bit about this particular arena earlier, and so here's just a couple of different angles. Notice the cutouts, and notice how things really create an atmosphere. The lighting does a lot of work here. You can see it in the doorways and the ramps, and here's a couple more lighting things that I really like. Now, we've all seen basic barrels in a lot of arenas, but here, this is one example where the lighting really takes it from boring to brilliant in my mind. And lights on the other side are built into the structure, and they really create a very specific mood just as soon as you enter the arena. So, some opinions that laser tag players have shared with me about lighting. Some say that lights may actually have the greatest impact on the average customer experience. DMX lighting that changes colors throughout the game or the intensity have way more impact than, say, just disco balls or laser effects. If you imagine yourself watching a play or a concert with just fluorescent work lights, that's what sometimes it feels like you're experiencing in an arena if they haven't done much in the way of thinking through dynamics. Sometimes the black lights, if their floodlights just aren't much better. And in order to impress, lighting really should be dynamic. Lighting that can show which team is winning, or the pulses and ebbs and flows with the game, with the music, that's impressive. And DMX lighting that is in time with game effects. Those are all things that are considered very cool. Now, here are two examples of lighting effects that are being incorporated into the tagging of the base. There we go. Now here you can see the color of the base that's being tagged. You can see it in motion, and you can see when that deactivation occurred with this. That's actually a ramp. So if you're on that ramp, you don't have to be right in front of the base to know what's going on, and you can call out to your team and let them know what's going on in another part of the arena. Here's one that doesn't even need narration, but we'll give it some. Base is under attack. Base is under attack, and the base is destroyed. And so little touches like that really enhance things and kind of give you some cool clues as to things to be following along with the gameplay. And lots of different ways like that. But you can incorporate unique lighting into your setup, and you can incorporate a unique maze, the theme, and the lighting to really make your arena something memorable. Now, as I mentioned, I guess that's my answer as to how to, there we go. All right. Now, in 2020, as I mentioned, trying to reopen through some really challenging circumstances. And I wanted to do something to spark a little positivity and also shine a light on some arenas that had made a positive impression on me. So I just, to bring a little bit of sunshine into the situation that we were in, I wanted to spark that positivity and appreciation for the laser tag industry at a time when we all just really needed a boost. And so that is how Tivia's Top 10 Arena contest first came to be. And Tivia's Top 10 Laser Tag Arena finalists were selected by TiviaChickLovesLaserTag.com in 2 categories. One was most visually stunning, and the other was most distinctively unique. And I will fully admit that these initial selections were very subjective and based on my own experiences and impressions to get them onto a list. But then the final results were objectively determined by a public vote with online ballot submissions. And every arena that was on the list got votes from their fans. We received votes from across 21 states and 5 countries. We're going to take a look at some of these award-winning and specially recognized arenas, and I think in looking at them, you'll get some ideas and some inspiration, and you'll also see many of the elements that we've already discussed. Now, unfortunately, a few of these arenas are no longer in operation, but maybe there are some ideas that can reemerge from their past successes. And if you want to reference any of these again, all of these arenas can be seen, and all these photos can be found on my website at TiviaChickLovesLaserTag.com under the tab marked arenas. So let's take a look at some visually stunning arenas. Stratum in Mesa, Arizona was once the world's largest technotainment arena, and if size alone didn't make them notable, consider the following. There was a lot of hot airbrushed color here, very bright. Color is the one thing that I remember most about this arena besides the size itself. Color really helps players to navigate through this space. When you've got an arena that size, you need to have some cues as to where things are, and the color really helps you to identify where the bases are and where to call things out, because otherwise it could be very easy to get lost in that arena. There's some impressive lighting effects. You can kind of see a little bit of that throughout the photos. An incredibly unique maze, and like I said, just an absolutely huge, really impressive arena. And plus, if you ever visited there, something that I think customers will always remember is the spinning tunnel that they had. They had this spinning tunnel that you had to walk through a bridge to get between the briefing room and the vesting room. And what that accomplished was it disoriented you just enough to make you feel like you were leaving where you were and going to a whole nother place for your experience. Another impressive arena was Laser Quest of Spokane, Washington. Now, I played at nearly every Versant Corporation Laser Quest in the US during their final years, and this one with its castle theme really stood out to me among the pack. Now, the castle theme was amazing, from the entrance that you see in the upper corner, all the way through the really intricate arena. It was a great use of a very unusual space. This was actually built inside an old Washington State armory. So as such, they had some different things going on where you had to go up the stairs to get to the briefing room, and then you went back down the stairs to get to the vesting in the arena. Very intricate, very immersive maze. You can kind of see some cool cutouts and things going on there. It's a little dark in that arena. They weren't always big on photos. And there was a catwalk on the upper level, so some really cool things were happening inside that space, and they made what was unusual about it really work for them. Another arena I love is Ultrazone of Fort Wayne, Indiana. Now, this one is amazing, and I don't know if you could actually build another one exactly the same way again. They have a spiraling rampway through the center, and that leads you up and up and up to a bonus base that is guarded by a sentinel. And what's cool about this one is that the gameplay is happening on levels, but they're not necessarily the flat, predictable levels that you might expect. The base areas have very unique housings. One of them is very cavernous, another one is cylindrical. They're all very distinctive. And the sections of the arena are delineated by color. So much like I was talking about, it really helps you to figure out where you are in the space and be able to call that out and be able to maneuver if color is a marker for you. This is a real showpiece arena, in my opinion, for Lasertron Rochester, New York. It's their proprietary arena design, and it's very clearly identifiable as Lasertron. Really vivid lighting designs going on here, easily identifiable as part of their brand. Structures are very impressive, but they're also functional because the lighting changes that are going on in this arena, they play a really significant role in enhancing the game, and in many cases, they are a part of the game. And a memory that I have of this arena is, I remember I was playing during one Armageddon laser tag tournament where we played at this site, and I walked into this arena alongside a player from Europe. And she'd played in many, many arenas in her area, but she had never seen an arena like this. And we walked in together, and she saw it, and her jaw just dropped. And that's the kind of effect that I think you want to have your arena make on a player when they walk in. It should be jaw-dropping as soon as they see it and they think, wow. And speaking of jaw-dropping arenas, another one I really love is Laser Tag of Metairie, Louisiana, which was the last of the last actively used photon-style fields. And this design shows huge respect to the origins of laser tag by incorporating a modified alpha field. Old school players would definitely remember this and recognize it, and the iconic tower, it just screams laser tag. But what's cool about this arena is it's very contemporary also. It has shifting multicolor lighting going on, and fog emanating from below the towers. Very modern, very immersive, while still giving a nod to something that was part of the original. And like the original, a balanced field with a variety of levels and hiding cubby spaces, that's all incorporated here. So you kind of get the best of old meets new out of this arena. Another one we talked about earlier, Ultrazone of Sherman Oaks, California. Oh my goodness, the structures going on with this one. This one I really love because it's got some amazing, unique structures and not just your typical walls. It's got color and stylistic base housings that very clearly identify the locations for what is going on during the game. So it helps you to accomplish your goals because you can see the red base housing is right there, that's where your red base is. The yellow, you can see bright, vivid colors helping to identify what's what. This maze is really unusual and it's quite interesting, and I love that it's got all these little hiding nooks so you never quite know where the tag is coming from. Another arena that made the list was Loveland Laser Tag in Loveland, Colorado, and this one's got a really excellent Egyptian theme going on. The memorable Pharaoh's head is probably what most people will associate with this arena, and it's a great prop because it helps you by being an easily referenced point in the arena. There are several very easily referenced location points for callouts. It's 3 levels of very solid structure, and the gameplay is fairly evenly well distributed among the levels, as well as has multiple access routes to get between them. So it's just a big space that players have a lot of fun with. This one is Queensbury, Toledo, which was actually the winner of the most visually stunning arena category. And this arena I love because it incorporates inspiration from some really iconic sources in a very fresh and contemporary design. Some of the things that I see here, you'll notice the trapezoidal base entrances. That's another homage to Photon. There's some cool things going on in other parts of the arena as well. Some call-outs to the original Queensbury and some things that are recognizable, but they're fresh and new. And lighting is the real story here because these walls, if you can believe, in regular light, they're just like a very light pastel color, but they pop under these lights. And light patterns are cool for show, but they're also incorporated right into the game. We were looking before at the color changes on the ramps that show which team is currently deactivating a base, and lighting changes to indicate which team is ahead. These are all things that the survey appreciated and you're going to find here. And one thing that really more for like the detailed eye is the finished trim and the edging and the cut edges of the shaping of the walls. Those are real attention to details. And so I love to see something where you're paying attention to every little thing. Wonderland of Gresham, Oregon was another one that made the list, and they executed a Western theme probably better than anywhere else that I've seen. There's a surprise use of some memorable props, like the miner sitting on the bench from above. He's looking down at you as you're playing your game. And again, I love this interactive prop with the mama snake, with her living arena snake eggs. That brings that component to life. It's incredibly memorable and it makes a big impression. But I'm a big fan of Western things. Sometimes Western looks can get a little bit dull. Not here. This is a great example of how rustic does not mean boring. They have a tremendous use of bright color here. So again, really executed the whole Western thing very well, I felt. This one is Laser Dome of Mannheim, so different from the map we were looking at before, but kind of a similar idea in that it's an interesting maze, and you can see how the ramps do lead upward from several different directions, which is a little bit less common to see, but it creates levels in a very unique way. The thing I like best about this arena is that wall of code. It is just massive in size, and it kind of makes you feel small, like in an Alice in Wonderland kind of way. So it's a different experience, but talking about color again, oh my goodness, so vibrant. And this one is all about the color theme, from the wall art that you see with the robot aliens up top, right down to the detailed edging. If you look at the bridge there, see how intricate that designing is. So again, another place that really paid attention to some of the details. So those were Tivia's top 10 most visually stunning arenas. And I hope you'll agree that those were some pretty impressive and stunning places. Now, in the area of distinctively unique, aesthetics were a part of it, but in that case, there really had to be just something different, something totally unique about the arena for this category. And in terms of distinctively unique, the Edge in Belleville, Illinois was definitely one, and I'm not 100%, but this may be the largest arena in the country right now. It's got a massive size arena. It feels like you're trekking through several scenic locations, and you've got trees, and you've got Atlantis and patchwork stone, all sections inside the same arena with some memorable props, and again, another place that really gives players some clear reference points. And as last I knew, they were running dark light, which sort of lends itself to being a little bit more of a live action role-playing kind of tag. The changes in the scenery, I feel, just really worked with their game. An arena just up the road here in Henderson, Nevada is Flippin' Out Extreme. And this one is unique, even though they actually have two arenas in the local area, and I'm going to call them both unique, but similar, but some distinctions. But in both cases, they have stairs upon stairs upon stairs, and platform upon platform, all at varying heights. And between the two similarly styled locations, the one that I picked here in Henderson got the nod because of the sleeker metal finish, as opposed to the other one being a little bit more bare wood. Between the two, there are some really cool things going on. They have levels, up to 7 levels in one single arena. The one in Henderson has some catwalks. It has a balcony-style pathway that's really unique because you can actually tag outside of the arena proper, and there's like a little like a balcony area that you can tag onto that overlooks the lobby. So that's kind of a cool thing to experience when you're in there. You're in a game, and you're like, oh, hi, Mom. And the black and yellow panels add a real cautionary tone, so it kind of enhances and all plays together with a warehouse theme. And I've got to tell you, honestly, I am not a big fan of stairs in any arena, but this place definitely earned its place for being among the most distinctively unique. Another one I thought was super unique was Laser Trooper Topeka, Kansas. Now there's brilliant simplicity at this arena, and the simplicity is because they have been transforming a mall space with movable coroplast walls. Setting up an arena in a mall, unfortunately, is not always a permanent situation, as they have recently been experiencing firsthand. And so they found a really creative way to adapt to their circumstance. And what I liked about this arena is because of that, the arena maze can actually change between games. And that's the biggest reason that this one made my list. I played in a tournament at this site, and they changed the maze on the fly in the middle of the tournament rounds. Now, even with mobile laser tag or with changeable scenes like with Laser Storm, I've never seen that done mid-tournament before or since. So I thought that was really a very cool thing for them to be able to incorporate. Lighting pretty much is their arena theme here. There are some simple raised platforms enhanced by some edge lighting, which is very subtle but a cool look. And whatever you think about the lack of a whole lot of physical structure, the flexibility in changing the flow of this arena is really what I considered a very original approach. Taking it in a very different direction is iCombat of Waukesha, Wisconsin. Now talk about immersive. This is another one that really has a whole storyline around it. It's got a Hollywood-style design for a completely immersive experience. And here you find yourself dropped into a battle-ravaged town if you suspend your disbelief, or if you don't, you just have to appreciate the real detail-rich theatrical setting that they have here. The realism in this case comes from the details, like the clothes hanging from the line or the little accent pieces around the fountain. And I just want to draw your attention to that fountain. That is a great centerpiece prop for group photo ops. If you have groups coming in for parties, if you've got something really scenic or really picturesque that they can gather around, think about how cool it would be to get on somebody's social media and have them sharing a photo of their group birthday party with your arena as the backdrop. And if you've got something cool visually, that's going to be a great photo op opportunity for people to be sharing the photos and sharing the experience that they had. This one is Bolero Lanes Fun Center with Zap Zone in Battle Creek, Michigan. And this has got a really complex and interesting map going on. Not always very interesting routes, or excuse me, not very easy routes rather, but it compensates with sight lines from some interesting and unexpected angles and locations that can go throughout and across the arena. Really breathtaking, this one, with a simple theme with white walls, which are a little tough to tell that they're white walls, but white walls and neon geometric themes going on. Some amazing statement structures in this one, like the Eiffel Tower that goes straight up all the levels in the arena. And there are some other statement structures on the ground level too. And in sort of a similar style is Arena 51 Laser Tag of Middleburg Heights, Ohio. And this one comes up with laser tag players in conversation quite a bit. It's a completely unique arena design that includes two distinctly separate upper levels, a lower level with a foyer and catacombs. And there's some artistic Egyptian elements going on here, but they're stylized a little bit differently. Like, you know, we saw the pharaoh's head in the one. This one has some similar elements, but it's got like that neon contempo theme. And the maze is memorable because it's so unusual. And what I mean by unusual, when I say these separated by these two upper levels, there's one level where you can tag the red base and the blue base on either side, and then you have to go down and across and up to get to the green base. So that's what I mean by a really interesting kind of maze going on there. This one is Demolition Ball Adrenaline Zone in St. Charles, Missouri, and they have a completely original theme of an abandoned nuclear power plant. And storyline comes into play at this arena as well, because here they did an exceptionally well executed briefing video, which I believe actually won an ILTA honor back in the day. And they show their video on a monitor screen that looks like a massive computer wall being manned by a mannequin who's part of the scenario that's being laid out. And you get your battle mission, so to speak, to go into this abandoned power plant. And you go inside, and some of the notable elements that you'll find are other things like another mannequin that's wrapped around a pole, and it gets electrocuted periodically throughout the game. So a little bit more for the adults, maybe. Another distinctively unique arena is Adventure Family Fun Center in Queensbury, New York. This arena plays on 3 levels with several distinct rooms going on. And what I like about this one is it takes a smaller footprint space, and it really uses height to their advantage. It builds the arena up vertically, and the center level is just visually cool from any angle, because if you're looking up from the bottom floor, it's like you're looking at sort of a floating structure, and if you're looking at it from the top floor, it feels like you're looking into the computer room of the Enterprise. A local favorite, Battleglass Laser Tag, which is right here in Las Vegas. I was just playing at this arena last night, and there's lots of space. The arena itself is basically what I'd call a statement structure, and there's an incredibly creative use of rooms going on at this one, with various themes, from a museum room to a library. One comment that I've heard that I'm going to quote directly from the survey: as a parent, I want to be able to see my kids in the arena. As a player, I want to watch games, hear players communicating. Observation decks are wonderful. And I wholeheartedly agree with this sentiment. If you've got the space to build an observation deck, I think they're fantastic. If you don't, you might want to consider camera setups to be able to watch the game on monitors. That's another thing I like to see, because it gives the parents or the people on the outside of your arena a chance to take a peek in on what's going on and see their players inside. But Battleglass Observation Deck has open windows, which is cool because you can actually have a conversation with the spectators when they're up on that upper level. And so that's kind of unique, and I really like that. So if you've got room for an observation deck, please consider how that might be an asset. And Laser X Texas in Longview, Texas. This arena I like because it has surprises around every corner with animatronics and alien effects going on. There's a metal construction that gives it a really unique texture. It's a double level, not exactly what I'd call balanced, but it is fun to play. And the uniqueness of the system really compensates for a lot because they're actually still operating with Intersphere after more than 20 years. So that one just kind of rounds things out for our distinctively unique. And if you want to build or redesign an arena, the sky is truly the limit. And I hope that taking some of these thoughts into consideration might be helpful to you as you talk with the designers who are going to help you to hopefully get what you want, more of what you want right out of the gate. I know there are a lot of companies that really specialize in this, some of which will be at the trade show tomorrow. So I hope that some of these will at least spark some ideas for conversation with the pros who can take you to the next level. Now, we all know that right now people are being very careful, particularly careful with their economic choices. And maybe for the moment you want to do something that's a little bit on a smaller scale, maybe revitalize an existing arena if a complete rebuild or a massive change is totally off the table. Well, I've got a few inexpensive but incredibly cool effects that I've seen that maybe you can incorporate into an existing arena. Like this. Now, I'm a DIY girl. And last year I visited one arena where a new owner had just taken over and it was in the middle of the pandemic and their state was still closed down. So he was doing a redesign during all that, admittedly on a total shoestring budget. So he made the most of what he had. And he just did a pitch black repaint of his walls. And then he created these awesome geometric shapes out of nothing but neon fluorescent tape. And he let the black lights do the work. And honestly, how cool does that look? I was really very impressed with this, especially knowing what went into it. And he really got a cool effect in spite of the fact that he was working in that kind of situation with it. Another arena with a cool DIY effect is this one here, where there was a mega base in the center, and it was always surrounded by these lasers. These are permanent laser beams. And how he accomplished this is he has strings covered with fluorescent paint, and they guide you to the center base. And when they're under those black lights, again, letting the lights do the work, it just makes a really cool effect. And that is always there regardless of what else is going on with the lighting. And you know, one other thing is you never know when there might be a talented local artist who may want to literally put their tag on your arena. And you might be able to come up with something, or they might be able to come up with something that truly nobody has ever seen before. So on any scale, there's a lot of different possibilities for ideas and ways that you two can make your arena stand out. We've covered a whole lot of ways that you can make your arena stand out aesthetically. And now, if you'll indulge me, I just wanted to take a quick moment to tell you about a way that you can make your arena stand out in another way, which is by using it to make a difference and a positive difference in support of a great cause. So I just want to take a moment to talk with you about Tivia Chick's Tag for a Cause Laser Tag 5K Challenge. And I want to invite you to be involved either now or at some point in the future. Tag for a Cause is an idea that was born out of the pandemic also. And I noticed that many charities that would normally be doing their fundraising with events like 5K, 10K run, walk events, they weren't able to do these road races because they weren't able to get crowds gathered together. So many were turning their events into virtual fundraisers. They were doing this by asking participants to first donate, then do the 5K or whatever the challenge was, do it independently on their own. And for doing so and for participating, they'd be sent some kind of a piece of swag, be it a medal or a t-shirt or some kind of a thank you. So it occurred to me that maybe you could do the same kind of thing and you could use the same idea to help some great causes to raise funds using laser tag. So in November of 2020, I started Tivia Chick's Laser Tag for a Cause challenge, the Tag for a Cause 5K Laser Tag Challenge. And it's an initiative that I run each quarter on my website. And basically the way it works is each quarter I select a new cause that we support for 3 months. And I set up a direct to the cause link online. So players who want to contribute something can donate directly to the cause. And then they are on their honor to go out and they pledge to play 5 kilometers of laser tag at an arena of their choice. So this can be done independently anywhere across the country. And then as thanks, I craft a rosin medal and I give it to them. I send it to them in the mail and I say thank you for participating and thank you for helping this cause. And so again, all the funds go directly to the charity, and we do something just to facilitate it and get people thinking about going out and playing some laser tag as an excuse to do something good and to help people. So while this began as a virtual challenge, I found that as restrictions were starting to loosen, that it was more successful when I did in-person events. People want to get out and they want to play together. So we started holding Tag for a Cause nights. And I would be doing this at arenas at various parts of the country. I've done them from New York to Colorado and points in between, and we have another one actually planned for this week. And the way it works is I set up a table at an arena, and I have medals there with me. And if somebody makes a donation to the cause, then they get a medal on the spot. And then it's just an encouragement that, again, on your honor, play some laser tag. So while they're there, while I'm set up there, I also run a high score trophy contest, just as a little inspiration to get them in the mood for playing some laser tag. They're already at the arena, we offer them a little extra incentive. My host arenas get to have their logo and link on the website, and we co-promote between us so that we can involve as many laser tag players as possible, and it's basically a win-win. Brings players to the arena, gets funds raised for the charity as well. So this quarter, the Tag for a Cause is supporting Ronald McDonald House Charities, which we were talking about in the last session. And my next Tag for a Cause night, thank you Jared, is actually going to be at Laser Mania Family Fun Center in St. George, Utah on Thursday night from 6 to 8. I'll be traveling to his site immediately following the Expo trade show. And so far, I'm really happy to say that this initiative has helped to raise several $1,000s in funds that have been used to support 5 worthy causes, and we've held Tag for a Cause events at 6 other arenas so far. And I'd really like to see this continue to grow. So as many of you either have already or are about to have laser tag arenas, I just want to say, if you like this idea and would like to discuss possibilities for the future, please reach out to me, because this could potentially happen at a laser tag arena anywhere in the country. And if you're interested, I'd love to talk with you. Either find me during this event here, or you can also find my email on my website. It's Tivia at tiviachickloveslasertag.com, right until they come back for their next visit. And before I open things up again for questions, I just want to take a moment to say thank you to you all for attending here today. I hope that I've offered you some insights into some arenas you might not have otherwise had a chance to see. I hope that this sparks some inspiration for ideas that might be helpful to your arenas to help make them the best they can be. And again, I thank you for being here today and for your time. Thank you so much.